Alright, so in this video, I'm going to talk about why Colin Kaepernick got his first start this year against the Buffalo Bills. And, if you haven't been following my channel, I'm going to leave some links in the description. What I talk about in these videos is how the sports leagues, the media, pretty much everything that you've ever believed in your entire life is all scripted by the Zionist Jews and the Freemasons. And they script it with a number code. They code numbers into words, and it's a secret language that most people do not know about. So please, if you're new to this channel, check out the links in the description. I'm going to leave a playlist of some of these recent sports videos that I have covered. It's a lot of information, but please watch them videos. And then when you watch this video, it will make so much more sense. But there's a ton of information, and I've talked about how all of these stories are interrelated. Colin Kaepernick not standing up during the national anthem, the death of Dwayne Wade's cousin, Teddy Bridgewater's injury. They're all interrelated. Anyway, we'll get to some of this other stuff. Last season, though, the last game that Colin Kaepernick played just so happened to be on November 8th, which is a very interesting day. I've talked about all of this stuff in regards to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater last year on November 8th, so the same day that Colin Kaepernick played his last game last year, Teddy Bridgewater got a concussion, or he got knocked out in the game against the Rams. Teddy Bridgewater's injury this year, he gets injured just days before playing the Rams. And then the Vikings go on and they make a trade or whatever to get Sam Bradford, who was an ex-Ram, who was born on November 8th, 11/8. And all of this ties back into the Nebraska Cornhuskers as well. And that's how the Buffalo Bills fit in with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Because if you write out Buffalo Bills, it equals 117. Colin Kaepernick was compared to Muhammad Ali. Even in this article about him starting, they show him wearing the big Muhammad Ali t-shirt and whatnot. Muhammad Ali was born on January 17th, 117. He also had Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease equals 117. There was a whole bunch of 117 around Muhammad Ali. We even had the death of Prince, who died 1 month, 17 days before his birthday. But we also had the death of Dwayne Wade's cousin. Dwayne Wade was also born on January 17th, and he sticks out because he's married to Gabrielle Union, who is a native of Omaha, a huge Nebraska Cornhusker fan, and for the last 2 seasons, they have been going to the opening game of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Last year, the very first game Dwayne Wade ever went to just so happened to be on the day that leaves 117 days in the year. And then we got the death of Sam Foltz and Mike Sadler. Mike Sadler, the ex-Michigan State player, and Nebraska upset Michigan State last year on November 7th, a lot like 117. But the reason all of it connects back to the Rams is because of Moses. Moses from the Bible, the guy who freed the slaves, just like Abraham Lincoln, or at least most people believe Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Lincoln, Nebraska, Abraham Lincoln. Think about Dwayne Wade's wife, Gabrielle Union, Abraham Lincoln, and the Union Army. Moses was in the era where they were bringing in Aries, right? The new age, that's what the Freemasons believe and whatnot. The age is, right now we're in the age of Pisces, going into the age of Aquarius. And in Moses' time, it was the age of Taurus, going into the age of Aries, Aries the ram. If you write out Nebraska in Gematria, Nebraska equals 71, Moses equals 71, the 10 Commandments equals 71. That's why we got the death of Sam Foltz, the punter, because if you write out the word punt, punt also equals 71. And last year, Nebraska magically gets a bowl game with a 5-7 record, and they played in San Francisco, where the 49ers play. Think about Colin Kaepernick. In Levi's Stadium, Moses is in the tribe of Levi. So, just think about it in regards to what Colin Kaepernick has been doing, not standing there in the national anthem due to all of the racist cop shootings and whatever else, All about racism. Moses freeing the slaves. Nebraska connected to the slaves once again. It's all just a big joke. He's playing his stupid little part. His name even equals 74. The word masonic equals 74. 74 is one of their big favorite numbers. Jesus equals 74. Messiah equals 74. Muhammad equals 74. Lucifer equals 74. Gospel equals 74. Messiah, I think I already said Messiah. Cross equals 74. Jesus supposedly died on the cross at the age of 33. The only state in the 50 states with 74 gematria is Oregon, the 33rd state. That's why our nation's independence is on 7-4. If you write out Independence Day, it equals 74. If you write out holiday, it equals 74. So anyway, you got all the Teddy Bridgewater stuff in regards to the Rams. Notice, Kaepernick, the last time he started a game was on November 1st last year against the Rams, the St. Louis Rams. I mean, it's not a coincidence. It's all pre-planned. The only other game this year that Colin Kaepernick has played in, of course, against the Rams. This is actually the only time that the 49ers have even won a game this year. They won 28-0, which I'm sure is significant. I just have not really looked that much into it. Possibly I will later. I forgot that I was going to look that up. Another thing I thought was interesting is last year on November 8th, if you go from November 8th to his start this year, a span of 11 months, 8 days, a lot like 118 or 11-8. But I think the real reason that he started against the Buffalo Bills was because that's where William McKinley, the 25th president, was assassinated. And I've talked all about this, how Obama went to Omaha, Nebraska, gave a speech at Baxter Arena. That was the first place he went right after his State of the Union address this year, the final one. And that was all. He went to Omaha the same day that Lawrence Phillips, the ex-Nebraska football player, died. And the next place that he went, the very next day, he went to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he gave a speech at McKinley High School. And on 7/5, which is a big day if you watch my previous, my playlist, 7/5 was the day that we got the Alton Sterling story, the Philando Castile story. Alton Sterling, of course, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Philando Castile was in Falcon Heights, Minnesota. And when William McKinley was assassinated in Buffalo, just days before that, his vice president, Teddy Roosevelt, gave a famous speech about carrying the big stick in Falcon Heights, Minnesota. And so we got Philando Castile in Falcon Heights, Minnesota. We got Teddy Roosevelt talking about the big stick. Think about Teddy Bridgewater. Baton Rouge, Louisiana was named after the Huma people, a Native American tribe, right? It was named after a red stick marking the hunting boundaries. So these two shootings involve a stick symbolism, and it also involves the Native Americans, a theme that I've been following forever. And I've talked about how I thought the Indians would possibly be in the World Series. The Indians made the World Series today. And think about Native American, Indian, whatever. Think about how it connects to buffaloes. So what's super interesting, Buffalo, the small way, Buffalo Bills equals 45. The Buffalo Bills scored 45 points against the San Francisco 49ers. Think about the upcoming election, too, on 11/8, right? Sam Bradford's birthday, the day Teddy Bridgewater got knocked out against the Rams. That's when we will elect the 45th president. So, I mean, just think about Buffalo in regards to William McKinley being assassinated, then his vice president taking over. Now all this foreshadowing to 118 or 11/8. We got the presidential election for the 45th president coming up on then. I don't know. I need to delete that. I don't know why I wrote Obama's the 45th person. He's the 43rd person to be the president. And the next president will actually be the 44th person to be the president, but the 45th president was what I was getting at. Anyway, Buffalo also super connected to the death of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali died on 6/3. The real Prophet Muhammad died at the age of 63, supposedly. If you read out Buffalo, Buffalo equals 63. It makes sense that Colin Kaepernick would play his first game against Buffalo or start his first game against Buffalo. Muhammad Ali, all about Freemasonry. I have a whole video on it. I'll find that and leave the link in the description. Tons and tons of stuff in regards to Freemasonry with Muhammad Ali. But the Buffalo Bills beat the 49ers 45-16. If you write out 16, it equals 33 and 96. If you write out the word Freemason, it equals 96. The highest degree is 33. Colin Kaepernick, like I said, equals 74, like the word masonic. I also looked up the Rams game that day. The Rams lost to Detroit, and it made both of their records 3-3. So interesting. And the Rams scored 28 points. So that's why I forgot to look up the 28, but the Rams scored 28 points that game. The only game that the 49ers have won all year was against the Rams, and they scored 28 points, 28-0. But I'll look that up and possibly make another video. One other story I want to talk about that just came out today was, it's a headline on ESPN right now, Richie Incognito, no mending fences with Jonathan Martin. And of course they're talking about the bullying scandal and whatnot from 2013. They're bringing that back up. The funniest thing ever is that Jonathan Martin finished his career with the 49ers. Richie Incognito is now a Buffalo Bill. He was a former Nebraska Cornhusker. And all of the stuff I've talked about in regards to Nebraska, it stems back to 1971 when they won their first ever national championship against LSU. And of course, the LSU player in the car accident with Sam Foltz and Mike Sadler was the one who survived. And there's a whole lot more of LSU stuff, you know, like I talked about the number 112. We're going on the 112th World Series. The Super Bowl this year is played in Houston. Houston equals 112. LSU was going into its 112th season this year. Les Miles had 112 wins at the beginning of the season. He got his 112th win in Houston last year. I'm actually just going to make a video on him next because I think that his firing is actually connected to the World Series, believe it or not. Anyway, just wanted to point that out. The Nebraska's first championship in the year 71, but they played in the Orange Bowl in Miami. That was also the same year the Colts defeated the Dallas Cowboys in Miami in the Orange Bowl. Teddy Bridgewater's from Miami. He got knocked out against LaMarcus Joyner, who's from Miami. Anyway, just want to re-show the Richie Incognito bullying stuff. I mean, you just can't make it up. Richie Incognito in Gematria, 158. Jonathan Martin in Gematria, 158. Jonathan Martin was supposedly just mad because Bryant McKinney took his spot on the offensive line, or he had to move over. Bryant McKinney, 158. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. The odds of that are insane. What I find interesting is they're bringing this story back up. A lot of stuff is tied into the death of Prince this year. Prince was born on the 158th day of the year, just like Mike Pence. But who knows if that's what 158 is all about. Just wanted to point it out. I'm going to leave the video at that. There's so much more I could talk about, you know. It's just so super connected. Please just watch the videos I put in the playlist. I mean, it will make so much more sense. I have so many examples of this stuff happening. I mean, it's just beyond coincidence. Prince is from Minnesota. There's a whole bunch of Minnesota stuff. You know, Prince equals 38, Minnesota equals 38, Omaha equals 38. Lil Wayne even had to emergency land in Omaha this year. Just like Prince, right before he died, Lil Wayne equals 38. Louisiana even equals 38. And all the Native American stuff I've been talking about, it all goes back to the Omaha Indians, you know, in this area, Lincoln, Nebraska, somewhat. It just really stands out. And, you know, I'm just telling you, Colin Kaepernick and all these stories, they are connected to Moses because Moses freed the slaves. And that's why we're getting all the civil rights stuff in the media and whatnot. Colin Kaepernick was even drafted to the Chicago Cubs, just throwing it out there. And national anthem equals 147 like World Series. But running out of time, I'm sure we haven't seen the end of these Kaepernick stories. Have a good one.